True Horror Stories, The Haunting of the Wellhead. It was the sweltering summer of 2018 when I befriended a peculiar individual, known for his uncanny ability to commune with spirits. He was no ordinary medium. His connection to the supernatural ran deep in his bloodline. We often engaged in jovial pursuits, immersing ourselves in games and laughter. But beneath his charismatic facade, he carried a hidden burden, guarding it fiercely from prying eyes. Just days before the 4th of July, tragedy struck with an unthinkable force. Word reached me in the heart of a bustling town in Maine, a place far removed from the supernatural tales that typically dominated our conversations. My friend's life had been claimed by his own hand, as he plunged from the heights of a desolate cliff deep in the rugged wilderness. The news struck me like a lightning bolt, though I could not let the torrent of emotions consume me. Not among the crowds that swarmed the town square. I struggled to suppress my tears, burying them deep within, for he was more than a friend. He was a kindred spirit. Memories of his vibrant presence haunted me, as I pondered the dark labyrinth of his final choice. Several years prior, I too grappled with the malevolent clutches of depression and anxiety, a relentless battle fueled by personal demons and familial strife. My mind often strayed into the abyss, contemplating the allure of death's embrace. In those moments, he would jest, weaving eerie promises that if I ever succumbed to such darkness, he would reclaim my wandering soul, trapping it within a mystical statue, an eternal prison within a macabre effigy. These words now echoed in my mind, intertwining with sorrow, for fate had chosen to spare my fragile existence while claiming his. In the wake of his untimely demise, the veil between the living and the departed grew tantalizingly thin. 2 months later, an eerie occurrence sent shivers down our collective spines. The tight-knit circle of friends we once shared, forever altered by his absence, found themselves bound together by a mysterious force. Enigmatic packages materialized on our doorsteps, arriving simultaneously from disparate corners of the country. I unwrapped a relic of the past, a haunting antique pocket watch. My companions received their own peculiar gifts, a set of bewitched crystals and a bottle of rare whiskey. Confusion tangled with apprehension as we pondered the origins of these packages, their contents seeming to exude a spectral essence. Only he possessed our intimate knowledge, our addresses, phone numbers, and names. But how could he be the sender? Official records confirmed his tragic demise, leaving us to question the enigma that unraveled before our eyes. Driven by an insatiable thirst for answers, I embarked on a digital quest, unearthing the identity of the mysterious store that dispatched these cryptic parcels. My inquiries, however, were met with a chilling silence, a void as impenetrable as the darkest corners of the supernatural realm. The packages eventually arrived in the eerie depths of a sleepy town in Maine, awakening an unsettling presence that defied rational explanation. That night, my solitude transformed into a haunting nightmare, a spectral vision of an ethereal girl, her innocence veiled in a pale shroud, and a disfigured woman, her contorted limbs bearing the marks of a tortured spirit. The terror that gripped my soul that night was immeasurable, leaving me trembling in the wake of spectral horrors. Seeking solace and guidance, I sought refuge within the dimly lit confines of a metaphysical emporium, a sanctuary of ancient knowledge and occult wisdom. The shopkeeper, a seasoned practitioner well-versed in the mysteries that lurked between the planes of existence, offered me a dire warning. This macabre dance had only just begun, and the waltz with the supernatural would consume me further still. As the blistering summer heat of July 2019 blanketed the world, fate unveiled its next sinister act. On a fateful evening, while engulfed in a video call with my significant other, their voice quivered with unease. A disconcerting symphony of sounds resonated from my own abode, a symphony of footsteps, hauntingly amplified in the dimly lit confines of my room. Trembling with trepidation, I turned my gaze toward the source of this auditory nightmare, a towering shelf adorned with trinkets and mementos, and there in front of it, a dense shadow spun relentless circles, an ethereal waltz choreographed by an unseen hand. My blood ran cold, my body paralyzed with fear. The statue, once shielded by a cloth, stood exposed, an eerie sentinel, harboring secrets that defied comprehension. Ghostly Tale, the specter of my classmate. Let's transport ourselves back to my days in elementary school in America, where I had a classmate named Lee Wei. We were in the same class, but one day, he mysteriously vanished from school. Rumors began to circulate that Li Wei had drowned, and soon enough, the tragic truth came to light. It happened during a summer afternoon when Li Wei and two other kids from our Chinese-American community decided to cool off by swimming in a pond known as Watery Hollow. As they frolicked in the water, the two companions noticed something unsettling, bubbles emerging around Li Wei as if an unseen force tugged at him from beneath. Filled with fear, the two children quickly swam back to the shore, leaving Li Wei behind, seemingly ensnared by an invisible grip. Days turned into anguish as Li Wei remained missing. His parents, accustomed to his mischievous nature and long absences, didn't grow suspicious at first. However, Li Wei's father stumbled upon a strange sight while passing by the same pond where tragedy had struck. Something round and floating caught his eye, prompting him to assemble a search party. To their harrowing astonishment, they discovered it was their own son, lifeless in the water. Little did they know, this was just the beginning of a haunting saga. Years later, while taking a leisurely stroll in the American park with my close friend Andy, our conversation turned to memories of Li Wei. Andy recounted a peculiar incident from our elementary school days, one that had left an indelible mark on his mind. He vividly recalled seeing Li Wei in the company of a pale-faced boy dressed in somber black attire. Li Wei even greeted Andy, but when he shared this encounter with our classmates, they dismissed it as madness. After all, Li Wei had been dead for over a month. However, my own experiences with the supernatural led me to consider a different possibility. Perhaps Li Wei had encountered a vengeful spirit or a water-dwelling entity. The timeline didn't add up. Why would he appear after the customary mourning period? And who was that mysterious boy in black? It was a web of contradictions and intrigue. Just as I concluded my thoughts, an eerie transformation seized the park. Twilight descended, but the darkness seemed unnaturally profound. Sinister sounds echoed around us, and an undeniable sense of unease settled in the air. Urging Andy to leave immediately, we attempted to find the exit. However, no matter which direction we walked, we found ourselves trapped within an inexplicable labyrinth. It felt as though we were caught within the clutches of a phenomenon known as the ghost wall. Desperate to escape, we made our way through the grassy area beside the road when an alarming event unfolded. Row after row of well covers on the lawn started rattling and flung open of their own accord. Recalling my grandmother's teachings rooted in our Chinese heritage, I instinctively pinched my fingers together and silently invoked the name of the Great Vow Ksitagarbha Bodhisattva. Meanwhile, Andy resorted to venting his fear through a string of curses. Miraculously, our combined efforts eventually broke the spectral hold, and we managed to flee. As we emerged from the park, the twilight returned, and a fleeting image resembling Li Wei materialized in the distance. The park itself rested atop a graveyard, a place rife with inexplicable occurrences that even the park staff avoided after nightfall. Years later, I remain haunted by the contradictions and unanswered questions that continue to shroud this enigmatic realm.